The game starts. Also, thanks for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We're free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. So do us a favor. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the bell for updates, notifications whenever we post a new video, which happens quite often. And, of course, upvote the video itself. Your subscription is wanted, needed, and thank you for it. Anyway, today, I wanted to do a little bit more going into the weekend. We're going to talk to Tom Vanderford a little bit later on in the show. He'll have a standalone in the afternoon like we've been doing. And we also have an extra plan for the future, and maybe tomorrow morning with Derek Vandegrift about the Ole Miss transfer baseball players. So that's kind of our plan moving forward. But what I kind of wanted to talk about today is that Ole Miss can survive in this environment. I see people all the time look at it and go, oh, Ole Miss can never make it in this age of NIL. In this age of blue blood recruiters, how will Ole Miss ever make it? Well, there's a window, and we are attacking that window. And it is my opinion that people kind of need to get on board with it because it is the way for Ole Miss to compete at a big-time level. Ole Miss being an early adopter, everybody's going to catch up with it, but there's probably a 5-year window if you can make this work. You can be hyper-successful, and that is the transfer portal. Listen, Ole Miss will never be dominant on the NIL market. I will repeat that again. Ole Miss will never be dominant on the NIL market. Small enrollment, poor state. We do not have that kind of money. We like to brag that we have more money than state, but that's essentially a valedictorian and summer school argument when it comes to wealth and relative wealth when dealing with the Texas A&Ms and the Tennessees and the Georgias and those guys in the Southeastern Conference. So we're not going to be able to compete that way. So the question is, how can we compete? We're not going to be able to do the blue blood type recruiting because Hugh Freeze basically got the NCAA here to ensure that that didn't happen. We were almost there. Ole Miss was almost Clemson. Ole Miss and Clemson rose at about the same time. And they were almost there. And the NCAA kind of chopped them down. So blue blood recruiter is not an option. And as I say, there's 3 ways to build a roster in modern college football. And one is the NIL monster. It's what you see from Texas A&M, Miami, Oregon, Tennessee, those guys. Basically, if you were a power program in the 90s, you're using NIL money and you're willing to go broke to do it for the relevance that you had. The other one is the blue blood traditional recruiters, either the Georgias, the Alabamas, the Ohio States, the Oklahomas, those guys. So if you can't compete in those 2 windows, because there's about 7 or 8 teams in each category that competes at a high level. Now, the third way to build a roster is through the transfer portal. USC has used it effectively. Ole Miss has used it effectively. LSU has used it effectively. That's because LSU had to. I don't know if that is in their future, but that's what they're doing for the time being. Now, we will see this year if the transfer portal can be an effective tool for an elite program. That is the experiment, by the way, people. It's not whether or not you can be good. You want to win 7, 8, 9 ball games? Yes, the transfer portal can do that all day. We can do that until the cows come home. The question is, can Ole Miss become elite in this environment solely through the transfer portal? They're also recruiting, getting solid 4 and 3 stars. They got Marcel Reed. We're going to have John Garcia on probably next week talking about recruiting again. But, Bryson Sanders is on board. There are really good players in this class. And rest assured, if Ole Miss takes them, they can play. They're going to make an impact. Tysheem Johnson came in. Everybody told you. I told you he was a superb athlete. I told you he had Honey Badger qualities. As a true freshman, he made an impact on that defense. This year's the same thing's going to happen with Davis Nigmanosin, by the way. So, the question is, can Ole Miss survive doing this? Can Ole Miss become elite by doing this? Is Sugar Bowls going to become a regular thing by doing this? That's the question. It's not whether or not you can do this, because Ole Miss can win 7-8 games doing this. That could happen. And this year, looking at the roster of what's going on, if Ole Miss has good quarterback play, 10 wins is not out of the realm of possibility. If they have average quarterback play, then you're talking about the 7-8 win model. If they have bad one, it's probably 6 wins, honestly. So the quarterback position is going to dictate most everything. And as long as Lane Kiffin's the coach, you're probably going to have a decent quarterback. So that leads us down the road to Luke Altmaier and Jackson Dart, and both provide different things. What do you need? I think that question in our quarterback controversy or competition is going to be the most important. What do you need? It's not what do you want. What do you need? Because Zach Evans is going to line up in the backfield. And we're going to have Corey Burton on before football season, and we're going to break down Jackson Dart, Luke Altmaier, Zach Evans, Braylon Brown, and all these offensive skill players. We're going to talk about them. And we're going to release them, and he's going to tell you exactly what he thinks about them. Way back in the day, when we first started doing a podcast, even before it was in video form, we did one on Braylon Brown. It was a recruit spotlight, and we looked at film. And Corey gushed about Braylon Brown. The smoothness of him, the athleticism, the hand strength, the movement. He gushed about him. So we'll see exactly what this looks like moving forward. And we're going to see the transfer portal, if Lane Kiffin is a genius, or is he just trying something to make up for the fact that NIL is now a monster and is happening. And all the chicken littles that say the sky is falling is right. Which that is possible, by the way. Because this hasn't played out. None of this has played out. This is all new information. And I've told you guys many times, do not trust anyone that says this is the way it's always been. That immediately tells you that they haven't been paying attention the last 3 years. And if they haven't been paying attention the last 3 years, how right could they be? And the answer is not very. And never defer an opinion of yours to somebody else unless it is warranted. It is proven that it's warranted. One of the things we have in this society that's kind of messed up with it is somebody can say something and it can be parroted back and taken as fact right from the beginning. And 3 or 4 generations later, it can be proven false, but the damage is already done. It's already spread. And the same thing happens with sports takes. Everybody that thinks they might know what's going on likes to be first. And now it is better to be first than right. It used to be better than right to be right than be first. Now it is better to be first than be right. And basically, there's no consequences for being wrong. No consequences for any narrative that you put out. You can say whatever you want to say, and as long as it is repeated, if it's repeated enough, it'll become almost an alternative fact, whether or not it happened or not. Now, this is a problem that's going on in our society, but it affects Ole Miss football. It affects the transfer portal. Because people can say over and over, it becomes fact, and it'll be harder for Ole Miss to recruit. If Ole Miss has trouble signing kids in the NIL market, high-level players, it's going to be talked about and become a fact. And it's going to be harder to sign the next one. So be careful a little bit what you're spreading. Understand what's going on, and I understand the irony of what's about to happen, because the second segment that we're going to talk about today is going to be specifically on realignment rumors. So I understand the irony of what I'm saying. Trust me, believe me. But I think we as a fan base can improve several levels just by being ultra critical by what we're hearing and questioning motivation, seeing who wrote it, And I'm going to bring up this rumor, and we're going to break down about why was written that way and how it might be true. That's the other thing. Everybody just immediately discounts it because it's not been what they've been going on. They immediately discount it, and then you look at it. See, this is why it can't be true. Look at this. And I'm going to tell you why that can exactly make it true. I'm not saying trust it. I'm saying trust but verify. I'm saying don't discount. Don't just take one opinion as the gospel. That is what I'm saying. That is important. Anyway, I want to tell you right now about BetOnline. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all of your betting needs and sports information. Find all the latest sports developments, league reviews, and news, including this year's NHL playoffs and Major League Baseball playoffs are over. Stanley Cup's over. BetOnline is your continued source for all of your sporting wagering information, including live betting, esports, and scores. And BetOnline remains the best spot for all of your sports scores, podcast, and news this season. BetOnline.net is the fastest way and easiest way to check in on all your favorite sports and events, including MMA, boxing, and golf. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts.